So I hate to be the bearer of bad news for some people who haven't been catching up with the whole Jeffrey Epstein situation. Maybe some of you have already heard about it, but you don't understand what exactly went down for them to make these conclusions. But for the uninitiated, Jeffrey Epstein's client list doesn't exist, according to the FBI and the Department of Justice, or at least they're confirming that the client list doesn't exist. And plus, to add on top of that, they said that Jeffrey Epstein's death was actually a suicide. They're reconfirming that his death was by suicide. There was no foul play involved. They even watched like a 10-hour video footage of his cell. Well, not inside his cell, but kind of like outside his cell. And they saw that nobody went in or went out of his cell, which can only mean that Jeffrey Epstein may have actually killed himself. So there's nothing to see here. No client list. He died of a suicide. Let's just move on with our lives after years upon years upon years of celebrity names trending and Jeffrey Epstein's name trending and the client list and all that mumbo jumbo throughout the years. People were really deep into this during the pandemic when we were just locked down in our houses with nothing to do other than to tune into the Jeffrey Epstein cases, and nothing to come of this. That's it. Carry on. And believe me, the Department of Justice and the FBI investigated everything according to them. They appear to have looked into 300 gigabytes worth of illegal content that may include CP and other materials that would be criminalizing. But even though they were looking through all that stuff, they weren't able to find any leads or evidence that would indicate that Jeffrey Epstein, or at least one other person besides Jeffrey Epstein, is the culprit in all of this. And to top it all off, they said there was no client list at all. I think it's absolute bullshit when you think about it. Because ever since 2019, when Jeffrey Epstein, he killed himself, and there was all this talk about the client list and the celebrities that were involved in the sex trafficking. And then you had Ghislaine, I think that's how you pronounce her name? Ghislaine Maxwell, who was the wife of Jeffrey Epstein, who was also arrested. And not too long ago, she was found guilty in multiple counts of aiding in the sex trafficking of Jeffrey Epstein. And then after all that, we're just going to sit here and act like there was no client list this whole time. And then what really gets me very upset about this whole situation is that just a couple months ago, like around January or February, we had Pam Bondi, who is the current Attorney General of the United States, who literally told us that the documents, the client list, is sitting on her desk. Let's do the math here. You just said, Pam, you said there is a client list on your desk that is waiting to be investigated. You're going to read into it, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Now, you have the FBI and the Department of Justice that later on will look into 300 gigs of, illegal content, the whole spiel. They went into cabinets. They went into different locations. They were investigating. They had multiple squads go to different locations. And after all of that, there's no client list. So, Pam, bear with me right now. I have to ask you this question. What the hell is on your desk? If there's no client list, then what the fuck is on your desk? What is sitting on your desk? I really need to know what's going on. I genuinely feel like for every answer we get, we're going to get two questions, and the situation gets a lot more complicated. But the point being right now is that we currently are in a situation where we have evil people that are getting away with a heinous crime. A crime that involved not just a couple dozen people. We're talking about hundreds, thousands of victims that have come forward to explain their traumas and their experiences on powerful people that have hurt them. And you have this evil individual who is hiding behind stacks upon stacks of paper and maybe a tombstone, and we're just going to let them get away because there's no client list. There was no leads on who this person could be that was responsible for all the trafficking. So it's best to move on. It is what it is. He killed himself. There's no client list. Let's just keep it moving. I swear there's something wrong here. And it's very hard to not be upset about this because this has been teased for years, not just months, years. And people have been coming up with a lot of conspiracy theories about this, and we were just being drip fed information about the whole situation, only to be told, yeah, that never existed. We was just joshing y'all. This old client list. Like, come on, y'all. Like, I find it very sketchy. Like, even if Jeffrey Epstein's wife was a part of it, whatever, I'm pretty sure that she was, Jeffrey Epstein's right-hand man in all of this. But I'm pretty sure there has had been at least one other individual that Jeffrey Epstein looks to say, hey, I trust you. I need you to get this done. None. We cannot find anybody. Jeffrey Epstein is the mastermind behind this entire thing. Just meeting celebrities, trafficking minors, and nobody was in any association with that other than Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein. That's really it. The idea that the client list just doesn't exist is a very laughable thing. Like, it's comical, in fact. Like, I remember there were times that there were, like, flight logs that was released by the government. And then you had, like, a list of people, or not like a list, but there was, like, another court document that revealed names, like name drops. Like, you had Stephen Hawking, and then you had Chris Tucker, and then you had Naomi Campbell, and then you had, like, there were so many names that were being dropped, and their names were trending on social media. So people were literally thinking, oh my god, these people might have some association with what happened on that island. And then after all of that, we're just gonna say there's no list. I'm so done with this. I'm so tired. I'm so done with evil, powerful individuals just winning all the time. Like, it's a very exhausting thing. I'm not sure if this is going to be the end of it, because I did hear a lot of talk about Elon Musk now making a lot of noise about it, and he said something along the lines of, like, Trump is the reason why those files are buried. I'm not going to get too much into it because that will only lead me to getting political, and that's not the case. But I will say that this isn't about conspiracy theories. This is about power protecting itself from accountability, and you have victims that are just easily getting erased. Evil sometimes doesn't wear a mask. Not all villains wear masks. Some villains actually hide behind stacks of paper and they get away with shit. They wear a suit and tie behind a desk with a whole bunch of paper around them. Like, this news here is just a friendly reminder that you have a system that is designed to protect itself and protect those that it benefits. But other than that, stay loud, stay skeptic, and keep asking questions. I think we have a lot to uncover with the Jeffrey Epstein situation here. And on my next video, hopefully I'll talk less about demons wearing suit and ties. Until then, that's about it. Take care. Peace.